Well, it's been a while. Elizabeth, if you don't join me tonight, I'll be disappointed. You've been begging me to come back because you think I'm funny and you love my outlook on life. So, oh, there's one. Elizabeth, is that you? Oh, must not have been you. It's gone. Oh, well, thanks for the few seconds of view time. Hey, Thrifty. How's Rhode Island treating you? Getting a little bit of wind yet? Everybody down here panicked. Oh my God, the hurricane was going to come, and it was all they gave hurricane days off for school and work, and man, it was wonderful. Beautiful weather, breezy, sunny, partly cloudy, great days off. Hey, Jim. Well, Thrifty, I appreciate the prayers. I've just had a rough go of it the past few months. I've had a few oral surgeries, and I finally got my teeth fixed up, and I'm learning how to use the letter S again. So now I can talk and actually be understood. But they really took a toll on my body. I didn't even grow a garden this summer. Well, for a while there, not being able to eat what I wanted to and getting tired of mushy oatmeal and mashed potatoes, yeah, I about dried up and blew away. But now I'm starting to put some weight back on and hadn't mowed my grass all summer, and I've been doing that for the last 2 days with a push mower, and it's about to kill my back. But oh well, you mow for a few minutes, you go sit down and get a glass of tea, wait an hour or two, you go back do it some more. So how's life treating you guys? Hopefully it won't be long before I get a little garden. I got to hurry up and do it because it's time to plant my fall garden now. So maybe in the next day or two, I'll till me up a little spot, just enough for me to eat instead of give away a bunch. Now, I hear you, Jim. As long as we're above ground, we're doing all right. Now I'm expecting Elizabeth to show up. She's been bugging me. She's even been a stalker on Facebook. Found me on Facebook, so I'm sure she'll show up sooner or later. I have never ridden on a train, but I have been pissed off by many trains that stop right in the middle of the damn highway whenever you got to be somewhere on a certain time. Excuse me for a moment. I got to go refill my glass of tea. Oh, good. Yeah, she told me she had some folks that were wanting to start watching, so hopefully I'll get a few more subscribers. I've gotten 2 subscribers in the last month, and I haven't made a video in I don't know how long. But yet, getting 2 subscribers and not losing any subscribers, I don't know what happened. It still says I have 158 subscribers. I should have 160. I guess YouTube can't count, just like they don't like guns. But yeah, I'm trying to get some fence posts up. I got some folks with some light poles that I'm going to get and cut them up, and I'm going to actually string up some real fence wire. My electric fence isn't even on, but the goats don't know that. I haven't told them. But every once in a while, they get out, and I'll leave them out for a couple of days, and they don't eat grass. They let it grow. My grass is knee high, so I have to push down on the lawnmower so that way the top of the blade will cut half of it, and the other bottom of the blade will cut the other half, and it won't stall. But I've got to get my tiller going and get in the garden and get me a little spot going for some cabbage and broccoli and a few things. I'm itching for some homemade sauerkraut. But things are getting a little bit better now. Peanut season's starting. Although they've messed up my paycheck, which is fun, but I'm going to work one more day to finish up my training. And then I've got another job at a restaurant where they hired me. It might be a lot less money an hour, but over the course of a year, I'll make several $1,000s more. I just want the money I'm already owed, and then the heck with them. I'm going to get out of the peanut business. Besides, the peanut business really tears my back up, and I wind up having to take too many Percocet, and I don't want to take any more than I have to because one day I'm going to get older, and with my back pain, it won't work, and then I have to move to something even stronger, and I'm not into that. Jim, where you live at? We've already canned all our tomatoes down here, or at least my mom and dad did. Green beans, corn, everything. We've already planted winter garden. We plant it in the middle of August. Oh yeah, yeah. You got to wait a little bit longer to get that fresh ear corn than we do. Even our watermelon are gone. And I didn't plant any late season watermelon. I just let my dad grow them, and whatever my mom didn't eat, I brought home and I fed the goats, and they thought that was something else. And the chickens thought that was something else too until I got sick after the last oral surgery, and everything I smelled was horrible. Everything I tasted like I smelled horrible. So I went about 2 weeks without eating or sleeping, and I've had roosters a lot over my life. And this one rooster had the most annoying crow I have ever heard. And I don't have a 20, I don't have my 22 here. It's at my dad's house. But I went and pawned one of my rifles because I ran across an 1890 rolling block 22. And it only shoots 22 shorts and 22 longs. If you shoot a 22 long rifle in it, it's too much pressure and the shell expands and you got to pull it out with a pair of pliers. So I found some 22 shorts, and this damn bird woke me up after I'd only fallen asleep an hour and a half before, and it was like 5:30 in the morning. And I went out there and I caught him broadside and actually watched the bullet fall off his wing. And I said, nope, this ain't gonna work. I went and got me another shell, put it in there, and I busted his ass, and I went on a rampage, and I murdered every rooster I had except for two. And my favorite one, a little bantam rooster, a little black and white one, looked like he belonged on the Kellogg's cornflake box. Don't know what happened to him. I reckon a hawk got him. So I'm gonna have to start dealing with hawks again. I'm walking home now, going to turn off my phone so I can get going. I will catch you when I get home. All right, Thrifty. We had a pretty good watermelon season here. My dad likes Crimson Sweets, and he had several of them like that. But my favorite is the Carolina Cross. They're a little bit harder to find, but they're yay. They're 2.5, 3 foot long, weigh about 30 pounds, and they're so sweet. I like those, and I like Charleston Grays. Those are the ones I plant when I plant them. But I've got to get my grass finished up and then get out there with the tiller and till up a little spot. I've got a guy wanting to buy my 3 goats. He's asked me 4 times if they're all nannies. And I've told him 4 times they're nannies. And the fifth time he asked me, I said, well, I've looked underneath them. And unless they have 2 penises, the biology book lied to me. There should only be one if it's a buck. These have 2, so they've got to be nannies. He thought I was being a smart ass, but he figured it was kind of funny. Yeah, I like yellow meated watermelon too. But I gotta get all that done. I gotta walk my electric fence line and get it tightened back up. I need to get me some of those little ratchet tighteners so that way I can keep it tight. But I've got a lot of fence work to do to get the limbs that are falling off of it. And I got to borrow my dad's chainsaw and clear a path around it where the limbs won't fall on them. It's just a lot of work I got to get done. But I'm hoping I can get those light poles over here soon. That way I can borrow his chainsaw and get it all done at once and clean up around my pond. There's a few trees I want to cut down. But once I get it cleaned up around here, I'll probably start making a few more videos. I hope your old lady is a dog. Because if you're putting your wife out in the yard to pee, the neighbors might not take a liking to it. Oh, you got one of those smart dogs. I wanted to get one of those electric shot collars so that way I don't have to put a fence up right next to the highway I live by. But I want Anatolian Shepherd, or a lot of people call them military shepherds. Very protective, and I would not want to mess with one. But I got to get one as a young pup. There's my stalker. I told everybody you were a stalker. Yeah, I was telling everybody I was finally getting my grass cut because it ain't been cut all year long. It ain't been cut since last August. And it's about to kill my back, and I'm using the push mower because my riding lawnmower broke down, so I had to borrow a push mower. So I mow for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then I take a break. Oh, you didn't miss too much. We were just all catching up. But I figured it was about time to get back on because I'm finally learning how to use the letter S after I've had all these oral surgeries, and I lost a lot of weight and got sick. And then I had a rooster that I've had lots of roosters, and I was telling them that this is the only rooster that has ever irritated the piss out of me. And I fell asleep one morning about 4. I was sick. Everything I smelled bad. Everything I tasted like I smelled it. So I got up and I busted his ass and went on a killing spree. I killed every rooster I had except for one black one because I keep at least one black chicken that keeps hawks away. And I had one black and white bantam rooster, little bitty thing, looked like you belonged on the Kellogg's box. And I can't find him. He's gone. I reckon a hawk got him. So now I've got to start dealing with hawks again. Well, once I get it cleaned up around here and I get to where I'm working on my fences and stuff like that, I'm gonna try and make a few more videos because you said you had some folks that might want to subscribe. I've had two new subscribers in the past month or so, but yet my subscriber count still hasn't gone up. But I haven't lost any subscribers. I don't get it. I guess YouTube can't count. Damn liberals. But I got to get the grass cut, and I got to help the little church down the road cut their grass, and then I got to start. I'm not going to grow a big garden like I did last year. I'm not going to have the time because I'm not doing peanuts again this year. I'm tired of doing it. I'm going to go back to a restaurant and work there. I've been doing that for years, so I'll go back to that. It pays less, but in the course of the year, it pays more, and more is better. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm thinking about selling my goats. The guy kept asking me if they were nannies, and I said, well, they've got two things hanging down between their legs, and either my biology book was wrong or they're nannies. But it'll be a couple weeks before he can come get them. He lives a couple counties over, and I don't know. By then, I might not even want to sell them. Who knows? I might have enough money that I can afford to buy a buck to go with the ones I got and get me a better fence put up, and then just start raising goats to sell to the Mexicans that live around here. That's one thing about trying to quit smoking. I switched brands, and these things go out. Which last week I went 4 days without a cigarette, and then I went and visited my parents, and they aggravated me, and I picked them back up again. Maybe if I stay away from them, I'd quit. Elizabeth, how much plastic wrap do you go through whenever you're at work? Because you are one saran wrapping stalker, if I ever saw one. Yeah, I watched your video. You saran wrap the hell out of everything. I'm surprised you didn't saran wrap the employees that walk slow. Hey, Papa Pepper, good to see you. Haven't been on in a while. Had a few health issues, so I've been kind of slow over summer. Didn't even grow a garden. Yeah, I've done that before. If I just hold one in my mouth, it works. But if I do that, I usually wind up getting a cigar. That way I got something to chew on and some flavor. But the kind I like those nice, juicy Dominican ones, but they're too expensive. But I've been watching, I haven't watched your Hurt video yet because I'm a big Hurt fan myself. And I'm actually thinking about getting into some snake breeding. And I haven't decided if I want to do ball pythons or if I want to do native species that grow around here, like the gray rat snakes and stuff like that. And get a permit from the state. That way, I can release them into the wild. Oh yeah, whenever I was in college, my favorite class was herpetology. I loved it. Man, we'd wait for a rainy night and we'd get us a 6 pack of beer and go out and find us a nice little quiet highway where it was low and the water would kind of puddle around. We'd catch all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I like this guy from Britain, Balls to You. He's good. And Chris Hardrick, I think is his name. And Brian Barczyk, I like him, but he's just too happy. I mean, come on, have a bad day. Yeah, I don't have many cottonmouths around here, but I do have a pond, and occasionally I run across one. As long as he don't come up on my side of the yard, he's allowed to live. But if he gets in the yard and he's big enough, he's supper because he can't taste much different than rattlesnake, and I like rattlesnake. There just ain't enough meat on a rattlesnake. You got to have two 6 foot ones to feed one person, or at least feed me. But there ain't many things that live in the wild that I want to at least try to eat. I believe about the only thing I ain't gonna try to eat is a buzzard or a crow. Jim, you are so right. YouTube sucks. I'm a big gun enthusiast. I love old military rifles and collectibles. And I bought that 1890 rolling block rifle for $200. I cleaned it up. It's in perfect shape. I've already had an offer for 500 and two offers for 600, and I ain't selling. That sucker will stay with me forever. But there's nothing better than going deer hunting or just a good old fashioned day out shooting tin cans, which I went. I've got two reload. They're not reloaders. They're sizers. They pop out the primer and they resize the shotgun shell. I got one for 20 and one for 12 gauge, and I don't need them anymore because I've got the the kind that rotates around, and every time you pull the handle down, you get a loaded shell pop out. Went to the pawn shop. They don't want them. Nobody around here reloads. Oh, you're full of crap. You put them on the shelf, and you'll get $100 out of each of them. They're $175 a piece. Oh, if YouTube unsubscribes me to Papa Pepper now, I'm gonna have words with YouTube because I like watching him. I gotta admit, if you don't know what you're doing, you figure it out and you do it right. And from what I've seen from the progress you've made since you've moved into your place, you have done very well because I like the way you do it with the logs and the rocks. It just looks so natural and it's got more of an appeal to it than those concrete bricks that people put up for their little beds. I don't like that. Bass Pro, I haven't had a chance to buy anything from them in years. I used to have a bait and tackle shop, so I still got plenty, but I live near Savannah, Georgia, and there's a Pro shop up there, and I love to go there. I mean, I could, if they had a tent set up in there and they didn't check it at night, I'd probably camp out and just wander around all night long looking at stuff I wanted to buy. Oh yeah, don't mess with my lizards. I get on to my two cats. One of them knows not to mess with the lizard. The other one, he's learning. He's a little bit younger. Don't mess with my lizards or my skinks. Now around here, I've got toads and I've got a few bullfrogs, but mostly I have leopard frogs. And every year I get the little Halocenera, the little green tree frog. I've got a couple of them that come in and they stay at the kitchen, so I leave a little saucer of water out so they don't dry up, dehydrate. I don't want them to die. But if I put them back outside, they just come back in. So, and one year when I was with my ex, we had a broadhead skink came in the house, and it was at the fall, and this thing got to where we could feed him pieces of raw hamburger meat, and he'd let us get a few inches away from him and put it on the floor, and then he'd come up and eat it. Put him a saucer of water down. He stayed in the house all winter, and whenever it got spring, he moseyed right on back out. Miss that lizard. I should probably caught him and put him in a tank, kept him. But he's probably happier out in the wild. I like gray tree frogs and bird voice tree frogs. Now, bird voice tree frogs, I love. You get a couple of them and you put them in a container and you got enough moss to feed them and flies and stuff. Man, they will sing you to sleep like there's no tomorrow. I haven't found any Mediterranean geckos around here. We don't really have many geckos in Georgia, but we've got a fence lizard. He looks like he's the same size as a green antelope, and he's gray, but he's got the ridges on his back. Looks like a little iguana. they're cool as crap. But where I live, I have caught almost, aside from salamanders, I haven't caught all of them, but I've caught every snake native to this area of the country, including the poisonous ones. I've caught all the skinks except for the 6 line race runner. That's one fast damn little animal. And the broadhead skink, mm, you better be quick when you catch them because if they latch hold of you, they hurt. Well, if they're in Florida, I'm only in a straight line. I'm probably 75 miles from Jacksonville, Florida. It's right at 100 if you go by highway. So I ought to be able to find them somewhere around here if I ever go look for them. Yeah, you better get you a dip net if you're going to catch a race runner because they are too fast. I was in my early 20s whenever I was trying to catch them, and there I just could. In the whole class, nobody in the whole class caught one, and there were about 20 of us. No, that'd be cool. The lesser sirens and all that, and mud puppies, those are real cool. We've got those. They're more up in North Georgia than they are in South Georgia. Mostly what we have down here are slimy salamanders, the Plethodon glutinosus. Well, I guess that's the name of it. Whenever I took it, a gray rat snake was an Elape gutata. Now it's not an Elape gutata. They've changed the names of all my snakes, so I got to relearn them all. Biology. Who would have thought that it would change like that? I mean, come on. But if I get into breeding snakes, I'd like to breed the corn snake because we don't have as many here as we used to. And I'd like to do the gray rat snake. And if I can get down to Florida and get some black rat snakes, I'd like to get some of those. But they are mighty fine escape artists. When I was in college and lived in the dorm, I had a couple of them in an aquarium. I could leave my door unlocked and my window open and $100 bill on the middle of the floor, and nobody would touch it because they were scared to death because they knew there were snakes in that room. But whenever it came time to feed them, $2 a head. My dorm room would have 15, 20 people in there, all paid $2 a head to watch me feed 2 mice to 2 rat snakes. I had beer money out the wazoo. I like that. Black rat snakes for swim noodles. Oh, cool. You got your picture in the paper with that. That's awesome. Around where I live, you don't get your picture in the paper unless you catch a rattlesnake that you can hold up like this and his tail don't and his tail touches the ground. And people are still stupid enough to think that the rattles are how old it is. No, you dumbass. Rattles fall off. But I made a deal with poisonous snakes a long time ago. If I'm in the woods, I leave you alone. That's your house. I won't bother you. But if I'm on my front porch and I hear you, you a dead snake and you're going to get eaten. Because now I'm down to 3 hens and 1 rooster, and my hens are bantams, and I don't even know where they lay the eggs because I just let them free range around the yard. They're pest control. But I wouldn't mind having a house gecko to put in the house because they roam around at night, cruise around, eat all kind of bugs. Up until I started having oral surgery to get my teeth taken care of after that wreck that broke my back, it cracked all my teeth, and they eventually started decaying, and I couldn't afford to get them all crowned and everything. So once I started having oral surgery, I had been taking biology courses to get a second degree in biology, and I had to get that up. Now I'm not sure if I want to go back into biology or if I want to get my master's degree in history. It'd be nice to have another BS, but history is kind of my calling. I find myself watching YouTube historical documentaries and stuff like that most of the time. But maybe tomorrow I can get my grass finished up, get my tillers oil changed, fill it up with gas, and make me a spot since I didn't grow a summer garden, being so sickly and malnourished. I ain't gonna grow a big winter garden, but I'm gonna grow enough that I can eat fresh whenever I want it. So I got to get that done and then get my goats all their fence all done, which I'm thinking about selling them and going into sheep because I've got more grass than I do brambles and stuff that goats like. And every time, and a goat, I might be smarter than a fifth grader, but I'm not smarter than a goat. And these things keep getting out. And they love to go on my front porch, and that's where they stay. And I have to hose it off every day. But so far, I've got them sectioned off. They ain't been out in 2 weeks now, and I'm happy about that. And they don't even know the electric fence ain't turned on, and I'm not going to tell them. But if I don't sell them, I'm going to get a buck and start raising a few and taking them to auction. I actually have a video titled that. If you look through my videos, you'll find it. Them things, they do not forget where they got out. And I have battled and battled and battled that one spot. I put up strands and strands of wire, and they will go through it no matter what. But I tell you what, a goat is a smart animal and mighty tasty eating, which I could just wait till the weather cools off a little bit whenever deer season rolls around and butcher them out, but I don't have enough freezer space. I got half a hog in the freezer now I need to start eating on. Well, not quite half a hog. I took part of it to a church thing and cooked it. But I do like goat meat. But I think I like sheep meat better, so I might just go with sheep. Yep, Patty's in the freezer, or at least part of her is. Matter of fact, I think I might pull part of her out tomorrow, let her thaw out, and cook her over the weekend. Build me a fire outside with a nice rotisserie on some oak or some pecan wood, and have me a good old fashioned barbecue, and then invite a few folks over. I need to start figuring out what I want to plant for next year because I usually plant just the standard vegetables I grew up with, but I want to try some newer stuff. I've never had noodle beans, and I want to try those, see what they taste like, and some other things, like um, what's that gourd you got? Papa pepper, snake gourd or something like that. That's supposed to be real tasty. I want to try that and a few other things. Some oddities that I've seen on YouTube. I want to try out. All right, I'll definitely message you. Um, or better yet, you got a PO box. I don't have a PO box. All I got is just a mailbox in my front yard. I know people like to keep things on the down low so nobody knows where they are in case they piss somebody off. But I'll send you a letter or something, and I'll send you a few of the seeds that I like and you might not have, and we'll do another one of them seed boxes like you did. I like that idea. Take what you want, put some more in, send it on. Elizabeth, you're in North Carolina. I'm in Georgia. We all eat collards down here. Of course, I'm going to plant collards. No, I didn't get any from Homestead and the Hard Way, which I haven't been able to catch one of their Friday night shows in a while. I need to do that tomorrow night. Collards aren't my favorite. My favorite are turnips and mustard. But I do like the Bates variety of collard. I'm not big on the cabbage collard, but I like the Bates. Well, now I wish you luck on your bow fishing. But if you ever want to come to a good swamp, come on down to Georgia. I'll take you over to the Okefenokee. We've got a really great swamp, and it's full of all kinds of wild game, fish, and everything. Yeah, they're right in the path of that storm, and I hope they do well and don't lose much. Oh yeah, Papa Pepper, you'll love it. I mean, they still got all kinds of relics from when they tried to drain the swamp and log it out. They got canals. You can go camping out there. They have platforms built in the middle of the swamp that you can put a tent on, and they got grills and everything. It's awesome. Now you know Papa Pepper ain't gonna be careful. He's the wild man. There you go. Teach them while they're young. That way they appreciate it when they get older. But anyway, Papa Pepper, I hope you get something with some bow fishing. I've never done it, but maybe one day I'll get to try it. If you're in the Mississippi, it is. I saw something on a documentary today where they're trying to calculate the population, cut the meat off of it to sell to the Asians because they love carp. Apparently, Americans don't eat carp, but personally, if you cook it well enough, the bones are soft and I'll eat it. It don't matter to me. And then whatever's left, they make into fertilizer. Well, if you guys will excuse me for a moment, there's a cat box that's waiting for me to use it because that sweet tea is already starting to work. Oh, that's much more better. Well, I wonder if any more people are going to join us tonight. Elizabeth, you said you had a few that wanted to start watching, so pick up the phone, dial them up. Let's get this party started. I ain't got no weed to share with them, and you ain't getting my pain pills because I got to mow grass, and you ain't getting my Xanax because I got to go to sleep, and I got to deal with parents. Uh-oh, now we're down to two. Well, I still get bouts of it every once in a while, but I decided to quit taking the medicine for that and just deal with it, find something to do to occupy my mind. So I went back to watching history documentaries, and that's helped out a lot. I grow a variety called Bates, Bates. Most people in the South they grow Bates, but most of them grow cabbage collards. They're like big old cabbage leaves that are they don't head up like a cabbage, but they're big leaves like a cabbage. They're not bad with some hot sauce on them. Yeah, Bates is an old variety. I like to stick to the older varieties of stuff because to me they taste better. You used to sell them at your ex's feed and seed. Did you saran wrap them? The history guy. I might have, but I have to check him out again. But I watched Timeline. They do a lot with historical agriculture. They're doing one now with agriculture during the time of Henry VIII, and it's pretty interesting. They do wattle fencing to keep pigs in and stuff like that. It's pretty neat. Purple top turnips are the only way to go if you want roots. Because if you get seven top, you don't get roots, you just get leaves. Now in the south we have a few people that grow kale, but not many. Usually we put kale on the salad bar on top of the ice to fill over to cover up the ice so it's not very visible. At the Wendy's we had back when they had the super bar where you got the salad and all that, we put the kale on there, and every afternoon when we closed we'd wash it, put it back in the cooler so we could keep it for 4 or 5 days. And I had a lady come in and she ate half the kale on the bar and smeared it all up with mayonnaise, and I just laughed my ass off. I didn't have the heart to tell her it was 5 days old and it wasn't worth eating, but she ate it and she enjoyed it. I had seen an antique shop that's got one of those wooden drawers for the seeds, and I wanted it so bad, but I couldn't afford it. And yes, kale is good, and I like chard. Not many people down here grow chard. I like it. I think I had the red Russian kale and kohlrabi. I like kohlrabi, which is an odd one for us because it looks like a turnip that grows above ground, and I like it pretty good. No, it's not too hot for chard and kohlrabi. It's the time to plant them now, so that way, whenever they get up to the size you want them to eat, it's already cooled off, and then they get sweeter. I've only grown kohlrabi a couple times, but I don't know if I did well or not. I had bulbs as big as a baseball, and they got up maybe halfway up to my knee. So I don't know exactly how big they're supposed to get or anything like that, but they tasted pretty good. I just chopped the leaves up and chopped up the root, threw them in a pot, boiled them with some water and some bacon grease, and threw a little hot sauce on them and went to town. If it once you don't succeed, try again. Now you ought to be able to grow eggplant up there. Might You might have to start it indoors, but it is a hot weather plant. So I would probably plant that around February in a greenhouse. That way, by around April or May, when it warms up, you can put them outside. Now I don't do much with beds. I kind of do mine like row crop, but I might try a few beds. Now, if you've got flea beetles, you can use pyrethrin. It's an organic pesticide. It's made from chrysanthemums and African daisies, so it doesn't have any of the harsh chemicals in it, and it will do a number on it. And if you spray it today, you can eat it tomorrow. I use pyrethrin and I use permethrin, which is its second cousin. Usually, it has like a 2 day wait period on it. Oh, beets! I love beets, even the tops. Shoot, I ain't even got a garden. I ought to take a picture of the weeds I got out there. Some of them are higher than I am tall. I didn't grow one this year. Yeah, I've got a restricted use pesticide license. So if I want the good stuff for fire ants like Dursban, I can go get it. But at $100 a gallon, I got to have 4 or 5 people go in with me and we split it. That's the only thing it's good for is fire ants and termites. I won't put it on my food. Man, when I took I was in pest control years ago. I was a state inspector for pest control companies. And a few years back, I decided I was going to get my restricted use license so that I could do my own pest control at home and get the good stuff. And I took this 3 hour online class. And if I'd have known how stupid it was, I would have skipped over all the lessons and just went straight to the test and passed it. I can't believe they would let idiots have those licenses. You would think they would expect more out of them, but no. My phone is dinging. Yeah, I've grilled radishes. I love grilled radishes. Orkin bought out the company I started off with. I started off with Sears Termite and Pest Control, and then I went from there to the Georgia Department of Agriculture as a pest control inspector. No, my phone's hadn't made a sound in a while. I'm using my computer as a webcam because I don't have 1,000 subscribers to use my phone to do this. Stupid rule from YouTube. And it took me about 10 minutes to figure out how to go live because they've changed everything since I've done stuff. I used to like Roots and Refuge, but I'm getting to where I don't like them that much anymore. And Justin Rhodes, he's an ass. I'm sorry, I don't like him. But I've got to figure out how to get the screen to where you can get everybody up on it at once. I think I have that program downloaded, OBS or something like that. I want to be able to do that. That way everybody can see each other and talking. It'd be a whole lot easier. But my favorite out of everybody to watch has got to be Al. I love Al Lumna. I mean, he's practical. He's one of my favorites. Most of mine that I watch are smaller. I like half the time I watch Deep South Homestead, but I don't watch Keeping It Dutch much anymore. I don't like Cops, but I do watch Arms Family. I like Daniel Arms. He's just so personable. He's like Al. He's just easygoing, personable. You just can't help but like him. But I don't watch Keeping Up with Dutch or whatever very much anymore. I watch most of these smaller channels. The bigger channels is mainly Deep South and Lumna Acres. Al Lumna, Lumna Acres. Oh, you need to check out Al. This year he's bought a post and beam barn and he's built that by himself, and he's bought a wood shed he's built. And they're more of a meat farm. They're in New Hampshire, I believe, where they have 12 months of winter a year. No, they have 11 months of winter a year. Yeah, that's why I only halfway watch them. I look at the title, and if it's something that's I want to learn, then I'll watch it. But most of the stuff he does, I already know how to do, so I don't watch it. I just skip right on over him. Hang on, let me see if my cat's trying to rob. Boy, you better stay out of that cat food. That cat, he's gonna be the death of me. Keeps getting in my cat food. I had a bag of goat colostrum in the cabinet over the shelf, or it was in the cabinet over the countertop. This cat gets up there, opens the door, and tears into my goat colostrum. I might have needed that. I don't know what I'm gonna do with him. I like OAG too, but he doesn't do much anymore. I guess he must not be in the best of health anymore. I used to like the Holler Homestead, but they got to where they bore me. because they've got more money than sense apparently. And the best thing about it is she's cute, and how he landed a cute girl like her, I don't know. But whenever you got to have five people come help you tear down the side of a mobile home, something's wrong with you. I got a bad back, and then one day I can tear down the side of a mobile home. Deep South Bama, I have to check them out. We're on our last crop of tomatoes. You guys are probably in the middle of your first crop, whereas we're in our second crop, and our second crop is usually just enough for slicing tomatoes. Our first crop we put up in jars. She seems like she smoked. Who's this? Who's smoking weed? They ain't sharing with me. Something is wrong with this. Do I have my pen up here? I want to write. I'll just go back to the comments later and write that name down. Then again, I have realized that a lot of these people that do this homesteading stuff, a lot of them are potheads. Got to have something to keep you sane, because Lord knows the government's always in your business. Meg Holler Homestead. I could see her toking on a big old fat one. And another one I don't care much for is what are the Kevin and oh goodness, it's on the tip of my tongue. Living Traditions Homestead. If it ain't got Kevin on it, I don't bother with it because I can't stand his wife. Oh yeah, I like Papa Pepper. He does real good because, like I said, if he doesn't know how to do it, he finds out how to do it and he goes with it, and it usually turns out pretty good. He is a very, very intelligent man. Ripe Tomato Farms. I might have to do that. I didn't even grow the first tomato this year. I feel so ashamed. Even as sickly as I was and down and out, I could have at least grown a tomato, a squash, and a cucumber. But talking about all this food and then remembering I've got that pig in the freezer, I might have to pull out my old bone saw tomorrow and cut me off a hunk and barbecue it. Nona Grace, I think I've seen her. Next cast, is that young boy? 'Cause I had a young boy subscribe to me, and I watched a couple of his videos and subscribed to him until he just kept fishing the same pond and throwing them all back. I mean, come on, keep one or two. But he was a pretty good fisherman. He was about 16. I've heard Mortgage Lifter is a real good one, but my favorite has got to be the Brandywine. But where I live, Brandywine don't do too well with the humidity. You got to grow about 35, 40 plants to get 10 or 15 tomatoes, but it's well worth it. I had a buddy who used to do bass tournaments, and he won a tournament. And on the way home, he decided he'd had enough, and that he didn't fish for 5 years. And now his son's just turned 8 or 9, so he's getting back into it a little bit, with his son and deer hunting and stuff like that. I've never eaten a mortgage lifter, but I think next year I'm gonna buy some mortgage lifter seeds and some of the German green stripes. I like those, and the Cherokee purple. Those are real good. I like those. Oh, you should try it. Ashley Elizabeth, you're a little bit further north than me. If you don't have a lot of people around you doing a lot of gardening, you might be able to get away with growing you a few Brandywines. They are the most amazing tasting tomato I've ever had. And black Krim, I like those. Those are really good. Oh, all the ones I mentioned, they're all heirloom. I like yellow tomatoes, but they don't have the tomato bite to them, but they are good. Yeah, Early Girl's a real good hybrid tomato. It does very well, even down here. I mean, they don't last as long as a lot of others, but once they start producing, they put it on. Exactly, no acid. One thing I did learn from Danny off of Deep South Homestead, when you see the leaves starting to turn yellow, just go ahead and pick them off, burn them, and be done with it, and you eliminate a lot of blight. Which I kind of already figured that out. My dad been doing that for years. Oh, I know a good old time beefsteak, but I can't think of the name of it right now, and I don't have a seed catalog in front of me, or I'd look it up. But you want the one that's got the big old bumps on top, the big old humps. They weigh about a pound and a half, 2 pounds a piece. Nice tomatoes. Oh, why take the glass to the jug of tea? Just bring the jug of tea to the glass. Cat, you're going to get on my nerves now. Stop. Ah, there we go. I don't know who Mr. John Doe is, but I've heard of John Deere, and he makes really good tractors. But we've got to have some anonymous people because I'm showing 4, and then whenever I check, I've got Papa Pepper and Elizabeth. And Papa Pepper's already gone bow fishing, so he must have just left his on. Oh, no. I don't even bother with those anymore. I need to start them up again, though. That way I can put my phone on and let them go all night and get some watch hours in. But it don't really do me any good to get watch hours when I ain't got but 158 subscribers. But I have been thinking about trying to get in touch with Premier One and Tractor Supply and places like that to get them to help sponsor me, so that way I have a little income while I get up to where YouTube will pay me what little bit they'll pay. Violet Jasper must be a pretty flower because violet's a pretty color and Jasper sounds like the name of a dandy dude. And when you put a dandy dude and a cool color together, you've got one really LGBTQ guy. Or is Violet Jasper a tomato? Well, maybe the hurricane won't be as bad as what they say. I haven't checked on it in a couple hours, but last I saw, I think it was a Category 2. And I don't know how far inland you are, but hopefully you're on the right side of the hurricane. You won't get as much rain and wind. You'll just get a little bit of wind and possibly tornadoes. Let me see. Get, I can open this tab and see what's on the radar. If I'll hurry up and load. Come on, hurry up, load up. Oh, look, there's my favorite person, Justin Rhodes. What an ass. Hardcore friend built our mobile sheep cage in a day. Oh, so you got the guy from Sow the Land to come and do it for you. Can't do anything for himself. Calls himself a farmer with all those weeds in his carrots. Hurricane Dorian. There we go. Let's see what it looks like. Live feed from USA Today. That ought to be fairly accurate. Come on, give me the picture now. Ooh, this one actually has sound. Well, the eye's far enough off the coast, but I can't see the name of the towns. At least the worst part's off the coast. Myrtle Beach is taking a little bit of a hit. Go ahead and close that out. Now we're talking about Yankees. Well, I'm not very far from Savannah. I'm about an hour away, hour and a half. But Myrtle Beach didn't like it was taking a real bad beating. It was just rough weather. Ontario Homestead, how you doing? Well, I've had a few oral surgeries and been sick a little bit over the summer and didn't even grow a garden. Didn't start mowing my grass since last August till yesterday. So I'm starting to get better, get back to my normal self, and I'll be getting into making some more videos soon. So how is it up in the cold, wild Canadian wilderness? No, Elizabeth. Canadians are not Yankees. They're snowbirds. I don't think I've made a video since earlier this spring, probably around February or March. Are Canadians in the fight? What are they fighting for? Warm weather? That's the only thing I can think of other than their gun rights and their crazy system of government. Yeah, I'm afraid, my friend, you were born in the wrong country. It's beautiful up there. It's cold up there. I don't belong up there because they got a crazy system of government, and now they're going after gun control, just like the U.S. is. But I'm afraid we got more guns in the U.S. than they anticipate. And I got a feeling this is going to get nasty for us over with. Even Walmart's going to stop selling handgun ammunition and small caliber ammunition for short barreled rifles. They just want to sell ammunition for things like hunting rifles, like 30-06 and 308 and all that. When the 223 is a perfect round for deer, 243 a perfect round for deer. They're going, but now they're going to stop selling it. but not until they run out of the supply they have. Okay, if you're really serious about it, then just cut the loss, stop selling it, period, or either discount the hell out of the shit so I can afford a few boxes of 380 ammunition, some 8mm Mauser, and some 16 gauge, and some 303, and a bunch of 22 shells. Well, I voted for Trump, but I tell you what, he was the better of the two evils because I didn't like Hillary and I don't like Trump. But at least Trump's got the balls to stand up to people. Hillary just caves in and takes their money and kills them later. And Mexicans, we got enough jobs in this country that nobody wants to do. I say line them up, give them a social security number, let them have a job so they pay taxes. That's my big problem with immigrants. They don't pay taxes if they don't come here legally, and all that money flows out of the country. If you pay taxes, I ain't got a problem with you living here at all. But no, they're not smart enough to do that. And now they got these red flag laws where if anybody thinks that you're a danger to yourself or others, all they got to do is call the police and a judge will sign an order to take away your guns from you, which tells me that all I got to do is get mad at my neighbor, call the police and tell them they were threatening me, even if they weren't, and the cops will show up and take their guns. Well, I already know of one guy they did that to. I think it was in Massachusetts or either Maryland, and he wound up dead. A lot of good those red flags laws are going to be if they would just enforce the background checks they got now and let mental health go past the doctor patient privilege whenever it comes to that and report it, then we wouldn't have these problems. Because trust me, the guy in Walmart with a gun on his side that you see is not the one that's going to kill you. It's the guy who's got it in his pocket that you don't see. That's right. It's all about taxes, or at least for me. Because if those guys come over here and they want to work in agricultural fields and make money, because they don't want to live here, they want to make enough money to be able to go home, build a house, live comfortably, and enjoy themselves. I've known many of them that I work with in concrete that they'd work 4 or 5 years. They'd go home. They'd already had their money saved up. They had their house built and they were ready to go home and they left. But they didn't pay income taxes. We lost that money. That money just flowed right on out the country. So I have no problem with Mexicans being immigrants. I just have a problem with them not paying their fair share. Yeah, Ontario, you are correct. The mental system, it needs to be totally reevaluated, step back, refrig the entire machine, and let's move on because that's where we like the guy who shot up the church in Texas. He should have never been able to buy a gun legally because he was already in the Air Force, beat his wife. He was not allowed to own a gun, had the felony charge of domestic abuse, but yet out of the military, he goes into a gun shop and he buys a gun. And next thing you know, he shoots up a church. When I go to church, I've got a gun, point blank. I ain't going down without a fight. Jesus is the only one that went down without a fight. And he was the only one supposed to go down without a fight. Because if the good Lord didn't want us to fight and have wars for good versus evil, then we'd all be happy and get along. And oh well, let's not get into religion. Yeah, I would like to see income taxes be done away with, but there's one problem with that. If we went to an across the board sales tax, people who have millions of dollars do not spend as much money as us. So we would be paying more in taxes than they do. And you're right, more people die of a knife than they do of a gun in the United States every year. But I believe if we went back to the old ways, like the Wild West, where you walked into town and you had a 6 shooter strapped to your side, they might say there was a lot of crime. But if you really go back and research the records, there was a lot less crime back then. Not because the population was less, but per capita, there was less crime because you knew that guy you were fixing to rob or swindle had a gun and he was liable to kill you. So you left him alone. And I wish I could remember the name of the town. It's in the Mid Atlantic state somewhere. They made a city ordinance to where everybody was required to own a firearm, and crime dropped to zero. Because think about it. If you go to break into a house and you know that some bitch has got a gun, you ain't going in. Respect and fear do go a long way. That is true. That and so does a 30-06 bullet. But as far as the crime goes, if that guy knows that you're armed or likely to be armed, he's going to leave you alone. He's not going to bother you. He's too scared to get hurt himself. Yeah, the visa thing is a problem, and now Trump's wanting to do away with birthright citizenship. I don't agree with that, but I do agree with all these people that are pregnant coming on vacation at 9 months or 8.5 months pregnant, staying for a couple weeks, having a baby who's an American citizen because they were born here. No, that shouldn't happen. If you're going to be here and have a baby, you need to be here before you got pregnant, and you need to be here legally. Then your child can be a citizen. Oddly enough, Texas open carry states, and they've already had 2 mass shootings in the last month. But they don't never tell you about the good guy with the gun that kills the bad guy with the gun. The left wing liberals don't want you to know that. They want you to give up your guns because they have police that will protect you. But yet, the United States Supreme Court has already ruled that the cops have no, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, they don't have to respond unless they want to. Political crap, junk mail, and unwanted soliciting phone calls. I hate them. No more open carry in Walmart, but you can conceal carry in Walmart. And they're making this sound like a big deal, but Walmart sells less than 2% of ammunition and firearms in this country. 2%. That's not a lot. People who buy weapons and ammunition, they go to gun shops. So they're really not doing anything other than making themselves look good to the liberal left. You're right, cops can't help you. I saw a video today where a woman was being attacked by a bunch of guys throwing buckets of water or something that looked like water on her, and the cop just locked his doors, didn't help her. Then I saw another video where a guy got on top of a cop car and jumped up and down, and the cop didn't do nothing. When the guy got off, he just drove away. What is an AP? I like that quote. I'm going to have to remember that. I think I might even mention that to Ben Shapiro. I have to admit, I do like watching him with his little yarmulke every day. And Louder with Crowder, I like him too. Did it work in Australia? In Australia, they took everybody's guns, they piled them all up, and destroyed them. Great Britain, very few people have firearms, but yet they still have murder by firearms. Granted, they only have about 50 a year, but still, if a criminal wants a gun, the criminal is going to get a gun. A law abiding citizen won't. So as soon as I get back on my feet and I start working again, I'm stocking up. Because right now I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, counting the muzzle loader, right in plain sight. Oh, wait a minute, 6. I forgot my pistol over here. Yeah, all these weapons, that's what I call loss prevention. Come to my house to take something, I prevent the loss. And I won't have a problem doing it neither. From the phone. Yeah, my phone's on my name. I don't have it on one of my other ones. I need to start doing that again, get these hours up. Hopefully, I'll get some interesting stuff and I'll get a few subscribers. You're going to eat and not offer us anything? I hope it's too salty. Anyway, Ontario, if you're getting off, I appreciate you stopping by. You guys tell your friends to stop around and check out some of my previous videos. And basically, this is starting over again. Microwave corn. Well, we know who's going to be going to the bathroom early in the morning. But if you guys would get some of your friends to come over, check out my videos, and maybe subscribe, because sooner or later I got to hit 1,000 because I got to get some money. I am working on it. I've got these, which are basically cigars with filters, and they go out frequently. So, a couple puffs, it goes out. I don't smoke the whole thing. I just set it down, and next time I want some more, I get a little bit more. But hopefully it won't be long before I do give it up completely. I mean, last week I went 4 days without a cigarette until I saw my mom and dad, and they aggravated the crap out of me. And then I went and smoked another cigarette. But they say it takes more than one time trying to quit to actually do it. So I'll eventually get there. If not, they'll just kill me. If somebody else doesn't kill me first. But these things are a lot stronger than a regular cigarette, so you really don't need the whole thing. But now I gotta find my envelopes, get me a piece of paper, write Papa Pepper a letter, send him some seed, do a little trading, see what I can get going for next year, because if I can get my goats in my garden spot and let them stay there for a few days, they'll eat it all down plus fertilize it, and then I can get my tiller in there and not have to constant, constantly clean the tines out, and that'll help. And my brother-in-law's father lives about a mile away from me. I'm pretty sure if I went and visited him, he could bring me a flatbed trailer full of cow shit that I could just scatter all over the whole thing and turn under and have a real good garden next year. But I've got to figure out some kind of crop that I can actually grow and sell and make a little bit of money off of too, to have a little extra income. And I'm thinking bell peppers and jalapenos and stuff like that because they don't take a lot of room and they produce heavy. And we've got a lot of Mexicans that come through for migrant work for agriculture with blueberries and stuff like that. The trick is just getting them started early enough. Gardens are the future if you want to be healthy because the nutrient value of what you grow yourself is a whole lot better than the nutrient value of what you buy at the store. They grow stuff for transport. They don't grow it for taste and nutrient. Well, I don't know if we're friends, but we've talked a few times, and I've enjoyed his conversation quite a bit. And I really admire the guy because he's smart as a whip. I mean, I got to give him credit. He is smart. And Ontario zucchini, oh no, zucchini, that's just too much work because you got to pick that stuff 3 times a day. It grows so damn fast down here. Do you have a lazy boy chair? Imagine the zucchini plant as big as a lazy boy chair. That's how big they get down here. And they don't stop producing. Whenever I grow zucchini for myself, I never plant more than 3 because I expect one to die and two's enough for me to eat and give away. Oh, yeah, way too late for pumpkins. Although I did buy some of the Cherokee Tan from Danny and Wanda that I didn't plant this year, so next year I'm going to plant them. And I'll probably wind up keeping all the seeds so that the year after that, or if I get them planted early enough that I can get 2 crops out of them, I'll start selling them. But corn takes up too much room, peas take up too much room, and those are great sellers. But I could grow cabbage, I could grow broccoli and stuff like that for the early spring. I could grow yellow squash and make a little money off of that, but they take up a lot of room too. So my best bet's probably going to be peppers. And I have grown jalapenos so hot that I've made Mexicans cough. So I know how to do that. And I've grown habaneros so hot that I've watched 5 Mexicans stand around and share one habanero. But I just got to figure out some kind of crop that I can grow that doesn't take a lot of space, that does a pretty good job of production, which I could probably do some tomatoes. I've got enough wire that I can make cages where I can keep them up off the ground and keep the water from splashing up on them and getting them diseased up. But that would probably be a one crop deal there. But at almost $2 a pound, I could probably make a pretty good penny, because if they're $2 a pound at the store, you're gonna pay me $1 a pound. I'm sorry. You can get your money back later on. I ain't letting mine go for free. But I do know bell peppers and stuff like that. They make a ton of money down here. A bell pepper in the grocery store is like almost $1 for one pepper. And cucumbers, they take up a lot of room, but 75 cents for a cucumber. And that's, to me, that's outrageous. Food should not cost that much. But I think for the early spring, I might grow some cabbages. IGAs are usually pretty good about buying as local as they can, and Georgia does grow a lot of peppers, lots of peppers, and freaking peanuts. I'm gonna take that restaurant job, but I'm going back for that second day of training. Get my it's 46 cents a mile. It's 100 miles. That's $46 right there. Then they owe me $23 for 50 miles from the first time I went, and then at $12.50 an hour for 2 8-hour days. Yeah, I want that money, and then I'll go back to that other job, which I should have already been paid for the first day and mileage that I went, but I wasn't. And they can email me, but I can't email them. So tomorrow I will have to find or borrow a phone and call, because I've already checked the calendar on the company website of when the next training is, because I've got one more day of training. And I'm going to ask them, how come I haven't heard from you in 20 days? Where's my paycheck? You owe me. You could have filled out that timesheet. You could have signed my name. You've done it before. I've told you you could, and I could have had that, and I still haven't received my pay card. Where is it? I want my money. And if I don't get my money, I'm going to the Georgia Department of Labor and I'm filing the charge. And then I'm going to badmouth them all over the farms community, because peanuts is a big commodity, and I would hate to see those people lose out to another small time inspection facility that is up and coming. Hey Chris, how you doing? How's the weather where you are? I finally got my health back where I can actually talk and eat, and I've gained some weight, and I'm getting some work done around the house, and I decided it was time to get back on YouTube and do something. Oh, you must be pretty close to the coast. I know Myrtle Beach has got some flooding going on, and it looked pretty rough with the pictures I saw. All right, Jim. Good talking to you again, buddy. You'll be seeing more of me in the near future. As soon as I finish getting this grass cut around here and getting it looking presentable, I'll be making some more videos. But I'm glad you stopped by. Yeah, it took a while after I had the oral surgeries. I got sick a couple times and everything smelled the same. It tasted the same. And my ghost kept getting out, and I'd have to go outside every day and hose off my front porch because that's where they wanted to be. And oh, them ghosts, they about to drive me up the wall. I'm fixing to sell them and get sheep. At least sheep eat grass and they're a little bit dumber than goats. Goats are too damn smart. But yesterday I started mowing my grass for the first time since last August. So needless to say, it's a job, especially whenever I'm used to riding lawnmower and mine's broke down and I had to borrow a push mower. Yeah, I've been doing some work. Well, maybe they'll have you guys back up on the power grid tomorrow, so that way you'll be able to do yours because I haven't been able to catch you guys on Friday nights. Goats are holes. I'm not sure what that is. That must be one of them Canadian things. Best thing I ever had out of Canada or Canada was Moosehead beer. I do like a good Moosehead beer once in a while. Yeah, one of my goats used to try to sneak in the house all the time too. Oh, assholes! Yeah, that's pretty good. The first time or two I drank Moosehead beer, I got up early in the morning. I went outside and I looked for that moose that stood on my head. Because boy, I had a hangover from that. That was stronger than American beer. Yeah, Chris, that's what I've been hearing. Anywhere from 1:30 to about 3:30 is supposed to be the worst of it. Thank God it ain't no category 4. And to think, I'm down here in South Georgia and they gave the kids a day off from school for the hurricane. A friend of mine works at a prison. They bust all prisoners from the coast over to her prison. They gave her the day off, and it's been partly cloudy, breezy. It's been a beautiful day. I should have went fishing. which if I get through mowing grass tomorrow, I might just do that. Oh yeah, the left wing, they're in charge of the news, so they want you to make it sound like everything is so bad, government's got to come to your rescue. I don't trust anything the government says. Oh, and since I've talked to you last, I pawned two of my rifles to get this one rifle. 1890 22 rolling block rifle. So I got one of the rifles that I pawned is a 30-06 Remington 74. I don't care if I get it back or not. I don't care. The other is my 303 British. I want it back. So I got to figure out how to make a deal with them. But I got that 22. I cleaned it up. I paid $200 for it. I've already had an offer for 500 and two offers for 600, and it ain't going nowhere. And this was about a month and a half ago before I started really getting better. I had finally fell asleep about 4 o'clock in the morning, and at 5:30, I've had so many roosters in my life. I had this one rooster that I could not stand his crow, and I'd put up with him for about 3 months. And I just fell asleep, and he woke me up, and I pulled that 22 out. And it only shoots 22 shorts and 22 longs. It won't shoot a long rifle unless you want to pull it out with a pair of pliers because there's too much pressure in it. I shot that blame bird in the wing. The bullet fell off. I said, "This ain't gonna work." I went and got me another bullet, put it right through his head, and then I went on a murder spree. I killed every damn rooster except for one. Oh wow, took a Nazi tank. I'm sure mine killed a few Nazis, but it didn't take a tank. But I do have a Yugoslavian-made K98 Mauser. I love my World War II rifles. Then again, I like any antique rifle. Oh, I'd have shot him too. I'd have shot him twice just to make sure the first one did the job. No, I didn't even eat my roosters. I was feeling too poorly to boil water and pluck feathers, so I just threw them out in the garden and covered them up. Fertilizer for next year. Yeah, I like the old ways. I don't even own a rifle with a scope. I probably should get one, but I doubt I will. I like to open iron sights myself. But I believe if I had to choose one way to hunt, and it was the only way I was going to hunt for the rest of my life, black powder would be the way I went. I love my hawking. That 50 caliber hawking and me get along great. And out to 100 yards, not a problem. And most people won't take a shot with a muzzle loader at more than 50 to 75 yards. That and I cast my own bullets too. All the ones at the store, they want just as much for them as they do a regular box of rifle shells. It's like, what happened? They used to be so cheap. Now they want to make them sabos with the little plastic stuff on them. No, they're supposed to be solid lead. So I bought myself a mold. I get a 270 grain mini ball and I get a 50 caliber round ball at the same time. Oh, I got a double barrel 16 gauge. And then at my dad's house, I got a 12 gauge 1100, and I got two 20 gauges over there, and another 30-30 lever action, and a 22, and another muzzle loader, another 50 caliber Hawken. I got to get a mainspring for it. The mainspring in it broke, but they don't cost much. One day I'll get around to fixing it. But now, when it comes to shotguns, I love my double barrel, and I don't care for the over and under. I like the side by side, especially the coach guns. What kind of 1901 you got? A Springfield? Good night, Thrifty. Thanks for stopping in. Send me a few more to subscribers. Tell them there'll be more videos coming in. Oh, 64 Winchester. That's a nice one. A 1903 Springfield's on my list. But now my 8mm Mauser that I got, it drops tags. It is dead on accurate. But these newer firearms they got, there's too many stamp parts. I like machined parts. That's one reason why I go for the older models. I like machined parts. They last longer. They're a little bit tricky if you ain't got them cleaned good, but as far as lasting and being accurate, you can't beat them. This Saturday, I got to go out with a friend and scout some deer territory. I live in the middle of a Rayonier pine plantation, and it's all hunting club except for behind the little church that they're fixing to log in January. And he's like, "Oh, I don't want to hunt back there. They're gonna log it. There's people walking around." Like, dude, that ain't gonna matter. The deer are still back there. Your scent ain't gonna last no more than 24 hours. And then there's about 5 or 10 acres right next to me that's not part of the hunting club that Rayonier owns. So we're gonna scout that out and see if we can't find us a place to put us up a tree stand. And I'm ready to get something, put it in the freezer. Elizabeth, good luck on trying to find a decent live radar. Every one I've seen on YouTube sucks. If you want a real good radar, you might want to download one on your phone or something like that from a TV station. I probably will show the slaughter. I'm not monetized yet, so it ain't gonna hurt me. I can hang that thing up in a tree and gut it right there in front of me. It ain't gonna cost me a dime because I don't have enough subscribers to be monetized. So what are they gonna take from me? Yes, it is. It's a great teaching tool, and a lot of people need to learn it. And I do admire some of the folks that we've talked about that I don't watch very often, like Keeping It Dutch. He'll clean an animal on TV, knowing good and well that he's not going to get monetized for it. He's just doing it to show people how to do it, and I admire that. But he's still not one of the ones I want to watch all the time. Now I can't decide what I want to do after I finish mowing grass tomorrow. Do I want to go scout for deer or do I want to go fishing? The weather's been kind of off and on, hot and cooling. Catfish ought to be biting. And I wouldn't mind a mess of catfish. Hang on just a second. I think there's a cat out there bothering my other cat that needs to be shot. Past twice in 2 days, that thing has gotten away from me. Church down the road's got a female cat, and this cat keeps getting them pregnant, and I wind up with extra cats down here. My cat, I've got a year and a half old Tom that I haven't got fixed yet. I got to get him fixed. And I've got a 15-year-old fixed Tom, and I'm not fixing to have him whooped up on. And stray dogs and cats don't live long around my house. I will kill them in a heartbeat. Yeah, you're right, Ontario. Fishing does sound pretty good. Chris, how did you go about getting sponsors? Because that's what I'm thinking about doing. That way, I don't have to worry about anything with YouTube. I can put up what I want. Well, if you're not with, oh, okay. Because I've been thinking about going around and checking some places to see if they'd want to do stuff like that. And that might be a good idea for me. But if you got to get with the Wi-Fi, it's good hearing from you again, and I hope you get your power back by tomorrow so I can catch y'all tomorrow night. Been a while since I've been on Friday nights. Yeah, imagine it has. You've got to have 2,000 subs in Canada to go live. That's crazy. I've only got 158 subs and I'm live. Now I've got to have 1,000 before I can go live on my phone. But that's crazy. Look, hold on a second, guys. Time for the cat box. You leave Easy Boy alone. You bother him too much. One day he's gonna rip your tail. Ah, now that all the animals are in, I'll feed them. Yeah, Chris, you got a lot more followers than I do, but then again, you are a little bit more prolific at making videos than I am. I got to start getting back into it now that I'm getting my health back and feeling a little bit better and getting things cleaned up to where I can actually show some progress around here and maybe teach somebody something. But if I could get sponsors, I wouldn't worry about YouTube monetization because, from what I understand, unless you've got 100,000 followers, you ain't really making no money. Well, I appreciate that, Ontario, and I'll try and remember and look you up, and I'll wait a minute. I can't say it. Sub for sub is a bad word. We're not supposed to do that. But just remember, you got to watch at least a couple minutes and hit the like button. If you don't, YouTube will drop you. They'll unsubscribe you. YouTube's as bad as Walmart about being a jip. No, you can't be in YouTube for the money unless you're one of them lucky people. That's all you do is play video games. If I make enough to pay my internet bill, I'm happy. Or if I got enough to be able to pay my gas money, I'm happy. I ain't looking to get rich. But I do believe that the knowledge I have is worth more than zero. That's it, Ontario. Learn from who you don't know, learn what you don't know, and teach what you do. And I won't even hold it against you since you're a Canadian, because you guys have the longest sniper shot in history. But there's one thing about it. Your Canadian ammunition didn't do it. You borrowed American ammunition, and that did the trick because the Canadian ammunition wasn't working. Which, if I could say this guy's name, if any of you guys are into shooting sports, let me see if I can get his name here. Come on, hurry up, picture. Tiborosaurus rex. The Tiborosaurus rex, he goes through it all. He's making over a mile shots at beer cans and hitting them. He teaches you everything about trajectory, types of bullets, the way they're shaped, the way they fly, everything. And it's fascinating, and I'm learning a lot. And I'm not a scope shooting guy, but he even teaches you what kind of bullets to use for the distance you're shooting, so that you have enough foot pound energy to be able to penetrate the animal and make a clean kill. Good night, Chris. I hope your power's back on tomorrow, and I'll catch you tomorrow night. You're right on that. Half naked girls and clickbait get you a long way in YouTube. And I'm one of them folks, I ain't about all that. I am who I am. Oh, you mean Carlos Hathcock, 93 confirmed kills, U.S. Marine, sniper, World War or Vietnam? He was one of a kind. He's my favorite too. I've watched several of his videos, and he used the Remington 700 30-06. And everybody thinks the 308 is bigger and better than the 30-06. Well, no, it's not. 30-06 has more power behind it than the 308 because it's just a little bit smaller, flies a little bit faster, and a little bit straighter. Yeah, I like Chris's videos. They're practical. They give you good knowledge. As a matter of fact, I've got to get me another hoe so I can cut it off the way he's got his weeding hoe. Ontario, I don't drink very often. Yep, his head's still together and he's got all his limbs and can walk upright. So he did a good job. But then again, in Vietnam, it was easy to hide in the jungle. But now I do have to admit, Chris Kyle, I watched the movie. I didn't like it, but I read the book. It was amazing. They left out too many of the amusing things and too much of the practical knowledge that he imparted through the book. But no, Ontario, I don't drink. But since it is legal up there, I might come visit you to smoke some weed. I take pain pills for my back from whenever I broke it, and I don't like taking pain pills because sooner or later, when I get older and it keeps hurting, the pain pills ain't gonna work anymore, and I don't like that. So I'd rather smoke weed, natural painkiller. But unfortunately, the state I live in will only let me have CBD with no THC, and it does not work on pain without THC. You got to have both. I've researched this out completely, and I'm just waiting on the day they legalize it. When they do, I'm growing my own. You know, you make a point, but when it comes to it, and you know that that guy that you're looking at is pointing right at you and fixing to kill you, I think that throws a lot of that out of the window. Because look at the wars that were fought in the Bible, and you don't see many references to those guys having problems with it, though I'm sure there were some that did. So you do what you have to do to survive, and survival will keep you sane for the most part. Although there are some that go into that line of work thinking that's what they want to do, and then after they do it for the first time, they realize it's not what they want. Oh, Elizabeth, cutting the hoe, I got that off Chris's video. He did one about a weeding hoe. Yeah, you're lucky. Canada is legal everywhere now, but give it another 5 or 10 years, it'll be legal all over the U.S. Elizabeth, you got bees. I thought about getting some bees. I learned that the money is not really in collecting the honey to sell. The money is in selling the bees. And I thought about getting me 5 or 10 hives and just constantly rotate 5 frame nukes out and selling them. And I think that might be a good idea. But the honey I get will taste good, or at least the springtime honey, because I've got a 10 to 20 acre blueberry patch right across the road from me and a pond on the side, so I ain't got to worry about water. All I got to do is keep them fed through the wintertime and keep them nice and fat. Down here, I don't get much cold weather, so I don't have to worry about that. And there's bees everywhere. You're right. Not everyone is cut out to be a hunter, let alone a warrior. I remember my first squirrel, and I remember my first bird, and I remember my first deer and rabbit. But the rest of them, I don't remember at all. Maybe I should have been a sniper. because it doesn't bother me. Because when it comes to hunting, I realize that's for my own sustenance. And if somebody broke into my house, it would probably rattle my nerves for a few days, but I would get over it and wouldn't worry about it ever again. And if it happened again, I'd do it all over. And if I were somewhere and I had my piece with me and I saw somebody shooting at a bunch of people, I'd put him on the dirt in a heartbeat and it would not bother me because I want to, in my philosophy, I realize that if I take a life to save a life, then I've done the right thing. But it's not for everybody. Ooh, EpiPens, $600 a pop. Yeah, you better stay away from them bees. But if things work out and I actually get back on my feet next spring, I plan on getting some bees. I grew up a farmer. I remember having to put down a lot of pigs because I had to. That being said, to come at my family, I would put you in the dirt without a thought. Exactly. And it doesn't even have to be family for me. All it's got to be is an innocent person being attacked by someone else. I would put them down. And when I was growing up, my dad was a farmer, and there were many a squirrel, crow, blue jay. If it ate what grew in the garden or in the field, it was my job to get rid of it. And I was pretty good at it. That's part of the reason why I still like iron sights because it was a challenge. Year before last, as I was recuperating from the surgery for my back after I broke it, I was at my mom and dad's for about a year, almost 2 years. And we got about 65 pecan trees, and the squirrels were terrible. Nobody had been shooting them for years, and the pecans hadn't been really good. And my dad would go out and he'd pick up, sort through, and he'd get whatever they needed, and that was that. But I quit counting after 135, and it got to the point I was using a Marlin 22 Model 66, and I didn't have a scope on it. And it got to the point to where it was so boring that I wouldn't take a shot unless it was around 50 yards away and it was a headshot. And I got to the point to where I might have missed one out of every three. I got good at it. So that was my fun. Oh, she had the onset allergy. adult onset allergy, I should say. Every once in a while, I watch the Fat Bee Man. He's very informative. I will try to make it at least a weekly thing where we have a conversation. Let's just hope that some more people drop by, and if y'all know anybody, just put a plug in for me. Let's see if we can get this count up, because I'm fixing to start looking for some sponsors to help out to pay for some of this equipment I need for around the house, like fixing my lawnmower and some fence posts and things like that, and a few farm animals. So let's see if you guys could help me out with that. That would be amazing. And I've really enjoyed talking to you tonight. I have missed this so much, but thank God I'm feeling better now so that I can sit down and talk. Ontario, it's been glad talk. I've been glad talking to you tonight too. And we'll just go ahead and end this because Elizabeth's got to catch up on the storm, and you got to get up, and I think everybody else is pretty much gone, other than a few that left their things running. Papa Pepper left his going, so that way I got a little watch time out of him, even if he wasn't talking. But I'll see if I can't figure out a schedule of what days a week I'll do this, and you know we'll just go from there. But if you guys think of any garden seed that you want, write them down. I may have them, and I'll send you some, and we'll go from there. And we'll start working on a winter garden, which I know for some Elizabeth, it's still got time, and Ontario, I know you're probably past time to plant your winter garden, but we'll see what we can do about doing some seed swapping and getting ready for next spring and all that good stuff. So good night, guys. God bless you. Thank you for waiting on me and coming back to visit and having a good chat. I appreciate it so much. You don't know how much it means to me. Definitely. I'll even see if I can't find you some seeds. You might have to start indoors so they'll make. But if it's something you want and I have it or I can get it, because I've got two or three feed and seed stores around here that I've got access to all kinds of old fashioned field peas and stuff like that. That you know they cost a whole lot less than out the catalogs, and you get a whole lot more for the money. So we'll work on that and we'll see what we can do about it. And I'll see if I can't come up with a schedule, and we'll do some more live chatting. And hopefully, in the next couple of days, when I get a little bit more cleaned up around here and presentable, I'll do a video. So with that, God bless you all and stay safe. Say, still having trouble with the S's. Stay safe in the storm. And Ontario, just get ready for the snow. You know it's coming. And I'll talk to you guys later. Y'all have a great night and a great weekend if I don't talk to you before then. Good night.